moving on now. Reinforcing the bail, not jail judicial norm. In fact, the Supreme Court has said that under trial cannot be indefinitely kept in prison in cases which have open-ended probes on conjectures related to national security fears. In fact, underlining the rights of an accused, the Supreme Court stated that courts will have to oblige bails if timely trial is not possible. This observation was made by Justice D.Y. Chandrachud and Dinesh Maheshwari while granting bail to an accused named Mohammed Inam-Ul-Haq in a trans-border cattle smuggling case. So bail, not jail. This is the fundamental right that has been upheld by the Supreme Court. Remember, Krishna Iyer had set as a legal doctrine way back in 1977 landmark judgment that bail is a rule and jail is an exception. So this is the fundamental right that the Supreme Court, the apex body of the country, is going ahead upholding. They are in fact also gone ahead to mention that people cannot be kept languishing in jail on conjectures over national security, something that the court has underlined here. And they have also said that the courts, in fact, will have to oblige bails if a timely trial in the case is not really possible. In fact, if I'd like to bring to the notice of people over here that there are a lot of pending cases in the Indian high courts also with over 2.95 lakh pending bail applications. This is a data that we are getting from the National Judicial Data, which is the data from as of October 2021. So we are looking at 2.95 lakh bail application pending cases that lie before the court. And now this is a landmark observation that the Supreme Court has in fact gone ahead and made, underlining the fundamental right of a citizen to be granted bail. Majeed Memon, senior lawyer and NCP leader, joins me on the phone line. In fact, Mr. Memon, thank you so much for joining me. You know, the Supreme Court pretty much upholding a fundamental right of a citizen. Your first words on this, sir.
Good morning to all your viewers. Let me tell you, first, we must understand as to what extent does our criminal justice system delivers, how much successful it has been. We will have to assess this, and for that purpose, I may tell you that a country's civilization can be best gauged by the effectiveness with which its criminal justice system functions, and to measure the success of criminal justice system, one has to turn country. Now, how position of India are with under us. You see, there are lot of under trial and prisons for several, which is reflecting that successful. Text that
we'll try and reconnect with Mr. Memon over there. We'll try and reconnect with him. There seemed to be a problem with the video link. Let me try and get him back on the phone line. But this is the latest that we are tracking. Important observations that have been made by the Supreme Court as far as the fundamental right of bail is concerned. Mr. Memon is back with me. Yes, sir, you were saying.
Yes, see, what I was wanting to convey is that our criminal justice system is measured by this yardstick that our prisons are overflowing with inmates, and most of them, almost 70%, 80% of the inmates in the prisons are under trial prisoners who are in law presumably innocent. Now, if you keep a person confined without bail, say for some stringent provisions of law or even detention laws, and you forget them because the prison population keeps on growing, and the state of does not turn to them. As a matter of fact, I have seen the well, we should have periodic survey and visit of prisons of the country if we want to improve our criminal justice system. Now, the prison population should be minimal, because you see, these particularly under trial accused persons who in law are presumably innocent can't be kept indefinitely, because the pendency of cases is piling up. In lakhs and crores of cases are pending. You can't decide the cases. You don't give them bail. You don't hold whether, you don't decide whether he is guilty or otherwise, and you want him to suffer as an under trial prisoner for long. And even detention laws. You see, I'm sorry to say this, the Honorable Supreme Court will re-examine this situation. Habeas corpus petitions are also kept pending in high courts and Supreme Court for weeks and months, which is a grave tragedy.
Okay.
It's a manifestation of fear of our criminal justice.
All right. We seem to have are having a problem with that video link with Mr. Memon. We'll try and reconnect with him. But meanwhile, Mr. Memon, thank you so much for joining me. So bail, not jail. This is the fundamental right that the Supreme Court is upholding in this latest observation that the court has made. On grounds of national security, a person cannot be left languishing in the jail. This is what the court has gone ahead and said. Remember, there has been a lot of inconsistency in the exercise of court's discretion in granting bail, which has been often denied to the accused, and hence their liberty. Their right to liberty, in fact, also happens to be denied through that. Now, if we look at why a jail is an exception, it one encroaches on an individual's right to liberty considered to be punitive and against the principles of natural justice. Number two, the detention against right to liberty, unless there is a chance of accused fleeing or tampering evidence. This is something that has to be noted over here. There has to be a detention only in the case there is a threat that the accused will in fact flee or tamper with the evidence. Number three, courts must ensure that a person isn't detained unless justice suffers if an arrest is not made. So these are the three exceptions to bail. If at all a person in fact has to be kept in jail, these are the 3 points that need to be looked at. Remember, this is a landmark judgment in 1977 by Krishna Iyer. In fact, she had set a rule that bail is a rule, jail in fact must be an exception. Bail in fact is a fundamental right, and people should not really be put in jail on conjecture. The conjecture here is on national security. That in fact the Supreme Court is saying that cannot be served by keeping people behind bars over some trumped up charges which you cannot even prove before the court. So we'll have to keep a watch on this particular story as far as these fresh observations that are now being made by the Supreme Court, reinforcing that bail and not jail judicial norm is a must.